All right, and welcome to the Hinge Games live stream. What were we going to talk about tonight? I had a few features for the dungeons that I just added. We talked last week about browser. Phil was on and he asked us if you wanted a browse game, set that up. We added some new features. And Chuck, what did you want to talk about?
The only thing I really did this past week was finish the walls for the level. So I'll just do a little brief show and tell of what I did with that.
Oh, okay, cool. Uh, so I sec here. So I will load up the dungeon browser, new level. So this will be,
Nice.
if you want to play other people's levels, this will be the main way to do it. I threw together a quick API or a quick little browser here. So now it'll do a search. It checks what abilities you have and only returns dungeons that you could actually complete. But you can also, so you can sort ascending, descending, all that stuff. You can search by dungeon or by creator. So if I search by dungeon, I should be able to. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to put this in because right now it works with the mouse and keyboard, so I can type something into search, and I can search by there, and then so you can search by name and stuff like that. There's also, and I don't think I have this. I don't think this account is subscribed to anything. But the other neat thing is I have the option here for subscribed,
Mhm.
so if you search by subscribe, oh, I'm subscribed to 4 items. Okay, that's cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, or either that or that filter's not working properly. I'll have to double check. But basically, recent, yeah, these are levels I've played.
Mhm.
Uh, and you can sort by date, and so yeah, you have features for finding levels. The other neat thing I'll do really quick, so I'll show you what that subscribed thing is. Okay, so if you click on, let's go to the
Mhm. Oh, cool. Mhm. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, cool. Nice. Mhm. That's pretty neat. Can we use that as Portal? Not that we want to completely change the mechanics of our game, but oh, okay. Mhm. Yeah. 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 So, can we color coordinate those portals so you know which is the in point and the out point? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we could almost do we could do kind of like a portal thing without the guns, without the portal gun, but just sort of like a teleport here. You apply the platform up here, then you walk over there, portal down somewhere else, and yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, another thing is, can you put those things on a moving platform of any kind? Okay, interesting. Interesting. You put on a push block. Oh, that's cool. So that's cool. 'Cause that opens the opportunity to actually put some of this stuff on like a, I don't know, like some co-op puzzles where one of the like one player has to be on a portal, where the other one has to like push them around on the portal with a cleave, or would they get knocked off? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking before. No, I'm just wondering. I'm just trying to spitball things that we could possibly do with it. That's yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. 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 Oh, okay. Mm. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that was really neat. Hmm. Yeah. 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 Hmm. Oh, cool. Hmm. Yeah. Mm. It's cool. Mhm. Interesting. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. So here's a weird question about this. Um, could you grab keys from this dungeon, walk to another dungeon, and use the key? No, it's locked to this dungeon. Okay. Oh, okay, perfect. That was yeah. That was my Zelda 2 Adventure of Link issue. Was I decided I couldn't finish a castle, so I walked to the next castle and got farther along. Then walked back to the original castle, grabbed a key that I wasn't supposed to. Then I was kind of confused as to where the other key was and which castle it was in. And that game. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. All right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Mm. Yeah. Uh, oh, cool. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Yeah, cool. Mm-hmm. Cool. Very neat. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very cool. Sweet. Hmm. Fixing that. Yeah. Ooh. Mhm. Interesting. Oh, so I just made an observation right now. It's a pretty dumb one, considering, but I just realized the doors are kind of in the middle of the procedure. They're at the end of the procedural doorway, right? It's not at the start. Oh, it's a dumb observation I just made right now. It's like in my mind, I was developing. I was like getting references for doors that came like right to the very edge of like the room, but it actually happens inset. Yeah, that makes more sense. Nah, it's oh right. Oh, it makes more sense for them to be there. Otherwise, makes more sense for them to be there. Otherwise, we'd want to have like two doors, right, per hall, I guess, for transition. Oh, so you have to do one on one side, one on the other side. Oh, okay. So it probably, if that is the solution, we could design the door for the front. If not, we'll put it in the middle. If you could figure that out. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. Okay, cool. Yep. Nice. Mhm. 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 Yeah. Mhm. Interesting. Mhm. Mhm. Possibly. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Sounds good. Cool stuff. Cool. Okay, so I'll kind of walk forward. Do you want to do a screen share? My screen to share? All right. All right. So am I on the stream? Okay. All right. So what I was doing was making the walls for this dungeon finally, and I'm currently trying to light it right now, and that's sort of been a bit of a having some technical difficulties with that. Uh, so one thing that I wanted to get to was kind of the system I designed behind doing this. It was not exactly the cleanest solution, but I realized I kind of wanted kind of these things to end. But I also kind of wanted like a little column at the very end of each of these sort of things to kind of signify that panel. So unfortunately, what I did is I split this thing right down the middle. It's not the most elegant solution, but it's actually kind of because it's like repeatable, it's fine. And there's no actual seam there, so it's pretty good. And but I kind of get the feeling it would work better if I actually modeled it. I don't know. Maybe I'm sure there's a better way to have done this, but it actually kind of works for what we're doing. Just so everything kind of falls right in there, and each thing is kind of each pane is divided by one of these things, by one of these dividers that are split down the middle. But because the normals are facing forward, it works. And so it actually required three individual kind of panes, like three pieces, which is basically the door wall. Uh, called this the door wall. This is like the main wall, and this is like the half wall. So what I'll do is I'll probably just use these to fill out the entire dungeon. But kind of just I need to make it dirtier because obviously the floor is way dirtier, and I probably have to add more detail just to kind of balance out the look between this area and this area. So I'll probably have to go in and add some more texture detail in the trim, do some maybe not. We'll see. Well, we'll play around with it to make it balanced, but probably not. I'll probably lower. Yeah, yeah. Especially with how dramatic the lighting is right now, we don't see a whole lot with the lighting at the moment. So, I mean, with the lighting at the moment, it's really flat, or it kind of toned down a lot of what we were trying to do. But that was also kind of what I did. I mean, the thing was, is the floor has to kind of remain as invisible as possible. So that's another thing. But yeah, we'll see how. I wanted to add some volumetric lighting in here, but the problem is I think it's very costly. So I'm looking at cheaper fake solutions of doing it, and one is it's
Hmm.
adding the collisionless geometry in there. That's one way. Another like there's different ways to do it, but it would be nice to kind of get like the rays coming through here.
Hmm.
Um, we'll play around with that. I also probably need to actually add like look probably have to add polygons, like a glowing polygon to here, to the back of the geometry, so
Oh
that
yeah.
you don't see the black through, and so we can blast that area here. Something I wanted to know though was right now these lights are set up on like a primary secondary system, right?
Hmm.
Is there any possibility if I were to get a material like a floating secondary material that you could correlate the color with that light?
What do you mean
Or is that
floating
well, it's because like
material?
what happens is like what I need for this piece of geometry is I
Hmm.
need it to I need it to kind of match the same color as what the light is, right?
Hmm.
The back emissive piece of geometry, right?
Okay.
Just so that it we don't see like the black past that, right? So what I want is this because we want it to kind of look like a light source is beaming in.
Hmm. Okay, so you're gonna
Yeah,
actually have some emissive stuff in the texture that's going to need to change,
yeah,
or in the material
and
that's
that
going to need to
emissive is
change.
going to have to change based on what the lighting color is. Is that a possibility? Or I have to find another solution. The other thing to do is just make it
It's a
white and it'll
possibility.
blast. Just make
It's
it white,
basically it's
reflective.
turning more stuff into blueprint rather than static meshes.
Yeah, okay. You know what? I'll find a way to make it static mesh. I think even just like putting a white there should do it. But we'll see. Because like I will have the bloom on there. The post effects will have the bloom and it'll have
Hmm.
the volumetric lighting in there. So first I want to see the cost of just actually running the volumetric lighting on this thing. After I figure out how to do that, and then I'll probably go beyond that. So just to kind of quickly show the process of what I did the week before was I just to kind of speed up sort of the making of this. All I did was very fast and simple hard surface modeling technique. I'll probably have to kind of go in and do another pass to add a lot more detail, like I said, just to kind of match the floor. I'll probably have to like take some of this stuff and put that there, like in the walls. I'll probably have to add a little bit more,
Hmm.
brickwork and things like that. So, but I'm not like it's stuff I could probably work on a bit later. Now that we have just something in there and it's not
Hmm.
terrible. Okay, where is it? So recent. Load this thing up. Well, load. I think this is probably what's slowing everything down.
What Marva
But yeah,
said.
what I was doing was it's a pretty hacky hard surface technique just to get our
Hmm.
source material, which is actually kind of cool. It was actually developed by a former student of mine from one
Hmm.
of my second classes, where you pretty much just model your low poly and just Boolean and do whatever you need to do with that, and then you bring it into ZBrush, hit polygroups, Dynamesh, and then you just kind of automatically smooth it. So you don't have to sit there and try and bevel and chamfer and try to figure out how things
Oh,
will
okay.
work. Because usually when you do stuff like that, it requires a lot of foresight. Whereas the way he works, it's just a messy mess. So
Hmm.
it actually kind of like you can see this is going to be the brick area, and then so this is my high poly I whipped out in the last
Mhm.
week, all three panes, and then I did the low poly based on that. Low poly, where is it? Yeah, low. High poly, let's hide the high poly. High poly's hidden. Where's the high poly? Okay, let's move this out of the way then. Where's the low poly? Low poly, there we go. We don't know where this is. Okay, so here's an example. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the source material, baking it, and no, my low poly. This was a fail. So it kind of just bakes it onto the low poly there, like the high poly gets baked onto the low poly there, and yeah,
You're talking about the normal maps?
yeah, the normal map. So it was kind of it was actually a longer process than I thought it was going to be baking this because then I had a lot of errors, so I had to kind of take just the clean version and then
Hmm.
Photoshop things out where I was getting all these errors, and then I had to, yep. So this was the clean version. Yeah, it was a long it was a bit of a hassle. It was
Yeah.
difficult. Anyway,
Oh, something I
where's
wanted to
this high
ask
poly
you
hiding?
about
Mm-hmm.
is well, I have something I want to ask you about afterwards. So let you finish.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, this is kind of where we're at right now. I managed to get the this detail baked onto the low poly. So
Mhm.
and then yeah, a quick texture pass, get all this stuff in there, and yeah, I'll probably have to go back and add something just to balance the detail levels between this. I'll probably have to add the brickwork in there. Probably have to add some brickwork in there. Get some of the extra trim details in there, and I'll probably leave this, and then I'll have to do the dirt pass on top. So I'm still working on the textures. So there's
Mhm.
that, and then I'll try to get the lighting. Just try to get working today, but there's some bugs.
Yeah.
Uh, Getting it. I don't know where the green is coming from still, but yeah, that's where we're
Yeah.
at right now.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
And
I
hopefully I'll
think
be
you'll
able
have
to.
to submit that, and I can try and debug it and figure out what's going on.
Yeah. So my goal for the next week is to probably finish just kind of placing these everywhere and
Hmm.
any changes I make to the entire, and then we'll have walls for the entire dungeon finally. And then
Cool.
start lighting everything. But I have to fix the lighting bugs, or you have to fix lighting bugs, and then after that, I'll start working on doing some polish work on this, and it'll just propagate across the entire dungeon.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's gonna be great.
yeah, yeah. That's where we're at.
Hmm. Actually,
Yeah,
yes. So the thing I wanted to ask you, if you go
yeah,
into blueprints,
yeah.
and under user interface,
So blueprints,
it'll be like the very last folder.
yeah, user interface, yeah.
So there's a input tutorial controller.
Mm-hmm.
So drag and drop that in.
Oh, drag and drop it in, not open it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Because something I noticed with your new lighting, like it was pretty much black, solid black,
Yeah.
and we needed
Mm-hmm.
a way of like basically like because you still should be able to see it regardless. It should look the same regardless of lighting conditions, right? Or similar
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
regardless of lighting conditions. So like we can't really set it
Yeah.
to unlit because then it just looks completely flat. There's no you can't see any of the shape to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you run the game right now, I updated the shader, or you'll have to save
Oh,
this. But yeah, I updated the
oh,
shader on it, so
stop it.
it has a bit of a
Save
missive.
it. Mm-hmm. We could make it like a glowing Fresnel as well.
Yeah, true.
There's a lot of things. I'm not too worried about that because that's kind of a miniature UI element. And so this is our green, and I don't know why.
Mhm.
Why is there a question mark there?
Oh well, that's what you have to walk up to in order to get the. Oh, and it's not working. That's weird.
Oh,
'Cause you should just be able to walk up to the question mark and the tutorial pops up.
interesting. Is it because it's in the floor or something?
No,
Yeah,
no, it
these
might be because you didn't
green
set a tutorial on it.
didn't set a tutorial on it. Could I do that quickly?
Yeah, try stop, and then just look at the properties. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, check the dialogue by proximity option in the options. And I guess make sure that trigger volume's on the floor.
There.
Yeah, that should be fine. I mean, you just need to collide. So yeah, check the dialogue by proximity option
Is that
in
in
the
detail?
details. Mm-hmm. No, up at the very top.
Yeah. Dialogue component.
No, no, it was on the. You had it. It was like right there. It was the second option from the top. Top that you selected a
Oh,
component. It's on the root component. The root component, not static mesh. Root components.
all right. Root component. Dialogue proximity. True.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
We'll save this. Try give it a go. And well, now my lighting's all gone, and for some reason the shadows stopped working.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's pretty blasted.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm.
figure that out though.
You can't even see the effects for like the arrows for what you're supposed to be doing. They're blasted too.
Wow. All right. But for something like that, I wouldn't mind it being actually like 2D, like or even having it like a Fresnel or something,
Hmm.
making it more ungrounded, I guess, from the actual game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fine. But yeah, we'll need some kind of material for that, or because the thing I was thinking is basically just we set it to unlit, but you bake some lighting into the texture,
Mm-hmm.
and then then yeah, it'll just always look identical every time.
Yeah, that'll be fine. I can do that.
Yeah.
That should be
Okay.
pretty simple. So I'll
But
yeah, baking lighting in there.
but yeah, that's obviously like a placeholder mesh, and as long as like it's you can see it
Yeah,
for now, so that's it's not a huge deal. Not something that needs to
yeah.
be done anytime soon.
Okay. So yeah, there's a lot of lighting bugs we have to kind of solve, and then
Mm. The
probably
thing,
rebalance sort of the dirt levels on the ground and the
yeah, the
most
thing
of that.
I'm wondering, like,
Yeah.
have you shown the setup to another lighting artist for Unreal?
No, I just started playing with it today, so I haven't really.
Because the thing I'd be worried about
Yep.
is a lot of the shadows you're seeing when you're just in the editor
Yep.
might be previews of baked lighting. They
Yeah.
might not
Yeah.
necessarily be what it will render in a game in terms of lighting.
Oh, okay.
There might be some
Interesting. Yeah.
optimization in there.
It says preview right there. But the thing was, is
Yeah,
like,
yeah, no, so that's preview because it hasn't been
yeah,
baked yet.
I just have to bake it.
Yes, but I don't know
Mm.
if you can bake it because we're loading this in dynamically. You can try baking it and seeing if it
Oh,
works.
that makes sense. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the dynamically loaded thing. That's the thing. Yeah, you know what? Okay, that's probably screwing it up. So cast shadows. Oh, okay, that's good to know. Cast
Hmm.
translucent, cast shadows. What's this? Probably have to play around with it a bit more, but cast translucent shadows, cast shadows between magic objects. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. Maybe cast dynamic shadows, but comes with a pretty heavy cost when I do that, I think.
Yeah, because that's the thing is I think that's
Yeah.
unless because you can try baking it, and if
Yeah.
you want you can try baking it right now, just the lighting.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's going to how well
Yeah,
that's
let's
going
do
to
that.
work.
So save and then where was the baking? It was
It's
not
build.
compile. It was lighting quality. Where was the bake lighting? I haven't done this in a while.
Well, there should just be an option for that in the build
Let me just do a
in the
quick
build
Google
menu.
search. Cook lighting. Cook lighting, bake lighting. But yeah, I think you're right because it's dynamic. It might not actually work.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hmm. Blueprint settings, modes. I remember it being one of these things up here. Compile
Oh, there is an
setting.
option for build lighting only.
Yeah, build. Yeah, lighting quality, production, lighting info,
Oh,
user.
this is not available while plan editor is active. Static lighting is disabled in project settings or
Oh.
over less than shader model 5. So,
Hmm. Build geometry. Okay, well, build. So I guess it. Well, okay. I'll figure something else out then. The other thing is like we don't necessarily even need to have the shadows for these things. I just thought it might be nice to have. Nice to have extra lighting in there somewhere. So like it actually probably would work better if we did like if we simplified it even more. Just because I find that a lot of like the doors are nice because we have that in there already. But just having like a lesser light and having it, I don't know,
yeah.
having
So
something
our in our under lighting, our allow static lighting is disabled.
under
So that's
lighting.
why you can't bake lighting.
Okay. Oh well, I'll figure something out. That
Okay.
makes sense. All right, so we'll come up with a more elegant solution for something like this. Um, I realize I actually kind of built these walls with these windows in mind to do that. So if we're not going to do that, maybe I should just kind of seal up the window and have another light source. Kind of just have a sort of one of these things kind of hopping out on top and lowering the.
Mm.
The only thing I wanted to do was have something to kind of like
The
lighten
thing
up these
is,
corners a bit.
because I think the thing about dynamic shadows is
Yeah,
mainly how many objects it affects.
yeah.
So if there's a way you can set that up where it only affects the wall and the floor,
Yeah. That's the thing is I'm not sure if it will. I think there's probably just a hackier way for not hack, yeah, hackier way for me to do this that'll probably work better for us then.
hmm, okay.
But it probably will get rid of the windows in here then if that's the case, sort of
Hmm.
solving something else with it. And then we'll just probably put like a light there to kind of like the game view is sort of like this. And I could probably just put some kind of god ray coming down through there. It doesn't need to be like a
Hmm.
window. And because
Yeah,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm
like a
realizing
god ray.
this is starting to become a bit of a problem trying to solve, like, with the emissive there, having like the volumetric lighting come through because volumetric lighting isn't cheap.
Hmm.
And then, but even then, I might be able to hack it
Hmm.
in a weird way. Like if I were just to kind of put some god rays coming out of this thing,
Hmm.
but figure out how to do it with the VFX, where it's kind of like soft collision, where you kind of walk through. No, then it'll kind of disappear. But yeah, if
Hmm.
I think I could probably just do that and it'll have a draw on top where it doesn't really. I kind of want to play around with it tonight to actually see what I can do with it because I think it's doable.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to think
Anyway.
because like in terms of like number of dynamic lights and stuff like that, I don't know a lot about how Unreal optimizes stuff. I know there's things for like
Yeah.
distance, like culling lights with, or not even culling lights, but basically like switching,
Oh,
like
I don't think a scene like this will be that difficult. It's usually when it's like an open world and you've got like a corridor with like 50 lights in there and
yeah. Well, again, it's not even so. There's two things that make dynamic lights expensive,
yeah,
and that's the number of objects they affect and
yeah.
the number of dynamic lights that are overlapping. And like
Yeah.
if depending on how you want to set this up, because like a lot of the stuff, like it's it's we're not gonna have like a lot of clutter and debris and things that
Yeah.
like we're not gonna jam pack these scenes with like a ton of
Yeah.
objects for these these lights are gonna have to be calculated to affect, right?
Yeah. Hmm. So hold on, let's just see what I can do. So it's contact, shadow length, contact, cast shadows from cinematic objects only, cast translucent shadows, cast shadow length, dynamic indirect lighting, cast static shadows, cast dynamic shadows. Metric shadow? Sure, why not? Cows deep shadow. Let's just turn all these on.
Okay, yeah. So there's a max draw distance and a max draw distance fade in range.
Mm-hmm.
If you do a quick search in the properties, you'll see those. And so we could set those to be very aggressive, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you don't even see this unless you're like within like 10 meters or something like that.
Yeah. This is now in the ground. Okay, so let's just try this again. Something like this, and this is this light. And okay, hold on. Select all these spots. Turn everything on. Let's see what happens. Lighting. Actor selected type. My can be done. Okay. Save current and play. See what happens. I kind of have doubts it'll work. I do have to kind of like read up a bit more about this. Yeah, it doesn't work. It is
No?
strange
Okay.
that these work though. That these
Hmm.
work,
Yeah.
but for some reason these don't. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we'll stuff to look up, stuff to read
Yep.
about, stuff to look up. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And also figuring out why this thing turns green. All
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, submitted. I should be able to take a quick look at it. Probably it's
right.
probably something really simple.
All right. Yeah, shouldn't be too much of an issue. And then yeah, we'll figure things out from there. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much it for my show and tell. I was just spending a lot of time working on one thing.
Yeah. Okay. It's looking pretty good, man.
Cool, thanks. I do want to like eventually throw before I make any changes to the walls or adding anything more to the wall because it's just a static mesh. I do want to put them up on every single dungeon room so that we have something. And then I do want to do a lighting pass on all the dungeon rooms so we have something to work off of. And then I'll kind of go back and start revisiting polishing because I think working too myopically, I'm not getting a very good overall picture of how things are unified. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll do the pass of everything first, and then I'll start going and changing things afterwards.
Yeah. You
Ooh,
remember? So remember, you can copy stuff and paste it into Notepad. Uh,
Notepad?
yeah. So you like if
What
you
do you mean?
select a bunch of stuff in Unreal and hit
Yeah,
Control C and then open up Notepad or Notepad plus plus, you can paste it into
yeah.
Notepad.
Oh, okay. So if we do this, Control C. Like
Yeah,
you
and
mean the
select all the
geometry?
lights and yeah,
Oh
literally
yeah, yeah,
anything
right.
in Unreal. So you
Yeah,
could drag select everything in the entire level, copy it, and then because one thing Scotty mentioned he did used to do all the time was basically
yeah.
like so you paste that into a Notepad, then
Oh,
and
interesting.
this is like your base group of meshes and lights that you use.
Yeah,
You keep that Notepad open up a new room, paste it in, move things around the way you like, save, open up the next room, copy, paste everything
interesting.
back in, move it around the way you like. Saves you make
That's
it
awesome.
makes that go way faster.
So I can just duplicate the lights like that. Wow, that's amazing. I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Thanks, Scotty. That's great. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, guess that's all I have to show.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Yeah,
would have been
just
nice
more
if one of the
work.
fills were here because there's a few questions. Well, I could ask you too because
Yeah.
like I'm thinking about the warps right now. The only way to place a warp is in a puzzle room, but it's like
Yeah.
if you just want a warp, I should probably set it up so you can just place it uh
Mhm.
in a regular room. So it's like you can place it
Yeah.
in a count. I don't know if I want to. I might want to put on some extra settings. So it's like, oh, if combat is active, warp is disabled. So you
Mhm.
know, like you're not in the middle of a combat, then you jump into a warp.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it makes sense. And I'll have to redo the interface a bit because I'm not really happy with it right now. It's just like
Yeah.
there's like six buttons that you can press that'll change different modifications, and it's hard to know which one's which. So I might build a little UI around that.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I swear there was like a, when looking back on it, I swear there was a way to build the lighting. Somebody else would know. building texture streaming. No, that's texture.
Mhm. Well, no, that's the thing is like static lighting
Yeah,
is disabled on our project, so you don't bake
right.
lighting. Honestly, though, like I can't remember why that was turned off. I think it would probably be like Bruder or Jason recommended we do it for some reason.
Yeah.
You can try turning it back on in the project settings, see if baking it and then everything works, but I don't know what else. Because I remember now there's because you'll get a warning in a lot of maps if the
Right. I remember
uh
that.
if the lighting is set to static, like the directional light is set to static, it needs to be set to like either stationary or mobile or something.
Mhm. Okay. Hmm. I just want to like the thing is I say I didn't have a whole lot of time to experiment with the lighting yet, and there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of more things I kind of want to try doing with it before I kind of start prodding around because I really just kind of started playing around with lighting for uh,
Mm-hmm.
of this room for like the first time, and but before I give up on kind of what the initial plan, I do want
Mm-hmm.
to see if I can do some extra stuff with it. So I'm
Okay.
probably going to play around with it tonight, tomorrow for a bit, and we'll go from
Yeah.
there. I think
Because I
because
think
like
I
I did.
remember something that
Hmm?
I did really early on was
Yeah.
with those pyres you made. I had placed a
Yeah.
bunch in some levels and then baked the lighting, and we got similar shadows to what it seems like you're going for when I baked them, but when I didn't bake them, it didn't have all that. So,
Hmm. I remember that. That's exactly what I remember. Because I remember that preview thing, and I remember hitting bake, and then it worked.
mhm.
Anyway, we'll go back to it. We'll revisit all this
Okay.
stuff. This is all kind of like stuff I haven't really spent much time on yet. So
Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think the next thing I'll do is I'll just start making the rooms up, start making the geometry for the room, and then
Yeah.
fill up all the room, and then I'll fill up all the other stuff too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then yeah, I'll probably add the warp as an option for like any room, and then it'll just be disabled during combat.
Yeah. Hmm.
And
Oh, I
mm,
just realized something. Bruno did a really cool kind of effect for our spawn. Remember our spawn point
oh yeah,
where it was sort of like that ray, and I think like something like that could kind of work for.
oh yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know. We'll see. It just seems like geometry could do it. My
Mm-hmm.
volumetric. I don't think I need a real. I've never. Yeah, I don't think I really need a volumetric light because like unless the character kind of runs through the light shafts, which I don't think they will. So I'll end them around here.
Yeah, depending on how they're positioned. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll probably look better too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's stuff I have to experiment with though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. That said, I realized if I do have like geometry light shafts, I am going to have to tie those with the lighting too. So if we change the lighting, we're gonna have to
Oh
change
yeah.
the light.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Sure.
Yeah. More
Yeah.
problems. More problems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll figure this out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the other thing is like the lighting thing, it's purely it's more trouble than it's actually worth. Like I don't actually even have to have these in here. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't, and I could just fake some other light source and or even
Mm-hmm.
just brighten up what we have.
Yeah.
So
I
I
wonder
could
if you
probably.
like scale it way up, do you get different results?
What do
I'm
you mean
trying to
scale
think of
what
like
up?
yeah, well I'm just trying to think of like what the difference is between the like hole in the middle and the light and the ones there.
Oh, is
I wonder if you get
this? What difference between this and this?
yeah, between those two lights.
Yeah, that's a good question. You know what I can do is I could take this. Let's just open this up. Go into the procedural, and where is it? Edit procedural. Is it opening? Here we go. Open procedural door wall. Select our spotlight. Go to viewport. I will select it.
Mhm.
Copy it. Open my notepad. Paste it in here, and then go back into our room. Where is it? Here.
I don't know if you'll be able to paste it there, but you should be able to copy it and see all the settings.
Yeah. Oh, it doesn't work like that? Okay.
Well, because you're copying a component inside of uh,
Yeah.
an object, and then you need to place an actual actor inside a level. But if you
Uh,
if you select the actor and copy it and
yeah.
paste it into that notepad below, uh,
Yep.
then you can compare the settings.
Gotcha. They look way different. Begin object class, this actor
Yeah.
class,
So there's
script
inner
images.
cone, outer cone, attenuation radius, roughly the same.
Mm.
Intensity. Ooh, your intensity is 400 on the component one.
No, but it's different. The difference is because one is set to candle something, candle whatever, and that's what the other one's set to lumens, I think.
Okay.
I mean, it's just candelas. The other is, so you just set it to lumens, and that'll be four. You set this to 400 then. I think that's the only difference. Or 400? No, not 400. Something like that. But it's candelas 1.5. Yeah.
Were those the only settings? You want to go back into it?
Oh, there were tons of settings. They're all different. So this was the one that we copied. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there's all this one: end object, begin object, arrow,
Well, no, you
color, attack.
don't worry about any of that. Just go back up to the first one, and it's
Yeah,
only
I
because
wouldn't.
basically it's just object. It's just yeah, it's just those settings. Okay, so you got scale and you got color,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
what's
all the
so
stuff is just stuff I actually literally just changed during like just to kind of flag stuff on.
hmm
Like I could affect ray trace global illumination, no. Affect ray trace reflections, no. Ray casting, no. Just to kind of see if it would do anything, and
hmm
it really didn't. So
okay.
forced cast shadows for removable primitives, sure. Contact shadows, sure. Cast translucent shadows, sure. Let's just throw all the yeses in there. Use area shadows for stationary, sure. So let's see the mess that this creates. I don't think it'll do anything.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that's
Mm-hmm.
is might be messed up is because there's a oh, I wonder if that's why.
There's two lights.
No, but so you have a red X on the light, which means something's wrong with it, right?
Oh.
That's why you have a red X on some of your lights and not on
Oh, interesting.
others.
Okay.
So that means one of the settings is breaking something. Although I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you
All
might
right.
want to try setting it to dynamic.
Setting it to dynamic.
Yeah,
Setting the
if you scroll all the way to the top just underneath the transform matrix, there's settings for mobility. Set it to the last one.
stationary.
No, no, set it to dynamic. There you go.
So how about if we select all these to movable?
Yeah.
Save. And wow, it's slow.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, this maybe it's because of all the other settings I put, but
Oh, maybe.
uh, see this. Oh, there we go. Ha,
Yeah,
it worked.
that was it. Yeah, if there's
Yay.
a red X on something, it means it's not working properly.
Yeah. All right.
But it is seem fairly slow, you said. Or it could be
Yeah,
something
that was
else.
yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that I just checked on that we're probably not using or seeing aside from just the
hmm
dynamic. So I just blanket applied them to all. So I'll probably actually just delete all the lights, reset them
Okay.
aside from the position.
hmm
Yeah. And yeah, we don't need ray traced shadows. We don't need deep shadows. Transmission, we don't need effect translucent lighting. We don't need dynamic shadows. Sure. Static shadows. Sure. Forced cat. We don't need that. We don't need to cast translucent shadows.
Actually,
Contact
if you
shadow. We
turn
don't.
off dynamic shadows, Uh,
Turn off
do they still cast any shadows?
static check. Let's find out. Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
there we go.
No, they're
Oh no,
not.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Interesting. Cast dynamic. 180. Oh, so some of them yes, some of them no.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. Uh, hmm. Okay, stuff I have to play around with, figure it
Hmm.
out, and also try to figure out what the cost is and figure out the rest of the stuff. So cast
Yeah,
dynamic
yeah. If you
shadow.
scroll down a bit,
Mhm,
in the properties,
mhm.
yeah, performance up, no, up a bit, a little bit more. There you go.
Performance, yeah.
Performance, yeah. So you can set max draw distance and max distance fade range.
Don't think this will matter too much because the draw distance is relative to the camera, right? So if you're just looking at it from this angle, the draw distance is actually through the floor. Yes.
Hmm.
From what I understand. So it's like this is not going to affect our game very much.
Well, I think
If
it's.
we were like kind of looking at this and we wanted to affect stuff way in the background, that's kind of what this is
Hmm.
for. The draw distance.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't have the draw distance. This is why we don't bother with depth of field or other
yeah.
things like
Well,
that.
I'm wondering because like, is it just because like if there's a light off to the side, I guess if it's just not on camera, then it's not going to be rendering anyway, so it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Light function. Anyway, I'm sure our audience doesn't really care much about us tinkering around with this for the next little while.
Yeah. Take a check out. Yeah, I gotta figure out that green stuff. Definitely feels like you're underwater.
Yeah, so it's funny because like I set this to one of the first tests I did was set this to 0, and
Hmm.
it doesn't work. But I don't know.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
Okay, so here, I'll just show you quickly. I stop. I go to our point light here,
Hmm.
and one sec. And let's say I set it to. Let's just find out what happened. Let's set it to
Well, the
my
thing
light
is,
color.
remember, the color of this light gets overridden uh, by the
Yeah.
by that data
Oh,
table.
right. So maybe I should just kept it as white because if it's
So
multiplying it,
it's not multiplying it; it should just be overriding it. Take a quick look.
did I did I name it wrong? Like
You
dungeon
can, if you
key.
want to try removing that tag and then
Yeah.
seeing if it's still
Let's just see
breaking
something
it.
first. So play. I set it to white. There we, yeah, no, still green.
Still
So that's what
green.
happens when it's white. Uh, back to our point light here.
Light
Uh,
settings. Yeah.
1.5.
So, hmm,
Yeah. So then let's remove the tag.
actors tag.
Remove the tag, save current, and play.
Maybe. Is sRGB
Nope, still there. Weird.
still there? Okay.
Yeah. So it's got nothing to do with that tag system. It's something
Oh wait,
in the level.
something in the level is shifting everything green. So wait, does it?
Yes.
That's so. Just to be sure, did you actually save before you ran it? Because remember, you have to save your settings before you run it
I
when it
thought I did.
switches
Let
brands.
me
So I just want to
let
double
me
check
just
that because
check.
there's a setting on set light color which is sRGB. It's a Boolean. I don't know what that does. Yeah, so it's still
Stop
green.
this. So do this. Go save current. Play. Ugh. Yeah, it's still green. Let's try the other thing, which was make this thing black. See what happens if I make this light black.
Well, the thing is, it's yeah, Because if it's overriding it, what's overriding it though?
Oh, 1.5. Let's make it 0. Is it overriding the colors or actually the luminosity as well?
Just the color. It's getting the point light component
yeah.
and overriding the color. So there might actually be
Yeah. So
because there's
we removed the tag. Huh. Weird.
I'm just gonna try running it on my end.
Wait, dock this thing again? Where's the window? There it is. That ain't working. No, not there. Oh, you stupid detail. I'll just float it inside here. So let's put it back to 1.5. Yeah, I'll let you take a look at it. I'll check it in and let you take a look at it. And I'll start placing all the other stuff in the other dungeons.
Okay, this I guess the other thing that it could be because it's just the base room that's getting loaded, right? It's not loading in any other.
Yeah. The other thing is, what if I were to just wonder if it has anything to do with
Is there a
the
light
spot.
in the normal room or whatever it's getting loaded? Question, but you can see all the lights. Are there any other lights there that are unaccounted for?
I don't think so because they're all listed up here. Spherical platform.
Yeah, it's not. That's the thing is it's not green on my machine. It's pretty. It's
so
white,
something
actually.
local, something local to here. So let me go play. I just delete all the spotlights just to see what happens. Yeah, still green. Weird. Aggravating.
Yeah.
Wonder if I could sound dumb about this, but considering these are just the settings I need. Use temperature, visible, indirect lighting saturation. System can be damaged. Why would it have to be damaged? Just OD. Okay, so let's just delete this light. I'll just place a new one. It's just a point light after all.
No, honestly, it's probably not something on your end. It's probably something on mine.
No?
Yeah, there's no way it's something on your end.
History. We'll figure that out later. Joys of lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also not even sure if it's... Well, it is nice having that color there, though. Nice having a bit of, like, a splash of light coming from there, but maybe it's... might be better if it was just better to the god ray up top. And not worry about any of this crap. Add components. No, not add component. Anyway, yeah, let's worry about it after. Yeah, I'll check this in, and we should probably end the stream then.
Okay. All right. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us.